all, Philip, is a French troop withdrawal from Mali inevitable at this point?
Well, let's say, Jeannie, this has been building up over a fairly long period. Emmanuel Macron wants to whittle down the number of French forces in West Africa because he thinks that it's not been a success, this Operation Barkhane. So already forces have been taken out of Teslit, Timbuktu and Kidal. And that has really annoyed the Malian authorities, the junta that is now in power, because they perceive this as France turning its back on Mali and deserting the country when it needs French support in the fight against jihadists and the advance of the jihadi movement. So that was where it all began. Then there were two consecutive coups d'etats, and that really annoyed France because the rulers now have pushed back elections, democratic elections in Mali, which were due to take place this year, early this year, around now. They've been pushed back by at least 5 years. So France accused Mali's leaders of wanting to cling on to power. That has led to a further fall in the relationship between the two countries, because Mali has now signed a deal with Russia to bring in Wagner mercenaries to take the place of French troops. And France is saying that that is incompatible with France's role in the country. So relations went down another degree when Mali kicked out the French ambassador at the end of January, and then told Danish troops, about 100 or so, that they were not welcome in the country anymore because they weren't given permission to go in there. And Sweden has also announced it's going to pull out. So we're in this situation now where there's a meeting tonight between the West African nations of Niger, Chad and Mauritania, which are part of the G5 Sahel, because Burkina Faso and Mali have both been excluded by the African Union. They'll be joined by Ivory Coast, Togo, Ghana and Benin, which are worried about the fact that there could be a spread of the jihadist movement into their countries. So they're quite keen that the Operation Barkhane may help them keep that jihadist risk at bay. Now, what is Operation Barkhane? That is a French operation that has been in operation since 2014. It took the place of Operation Serval, which was the original sending in of troops to West Africa. There are 4,300 soldiers in the region who are French soldiers, 2,400 of them in Mali. There were 5,100. The numbers are slowly coming down. The aim by Emmanuel Macron, the end, is to have only 2,500 there. 53 French soldiers have been killed, 47 of them in Mali since 2014. But Operation Takuba was created last year by the French with a view to taking over from Operation Barkhane and bringing in 14 European countries. But as I said, Denmark have pulled their troops out of Mali. Sweden has said they're going. So that is also under question at the moment as just to how much the Europeans want to get involved in West Africa and take part in Operation Takuba.
So what might the future look like, the future relationship between France and Mali, particularly with the military government being so anti-France?
Well, I think there's not much hope that there's going to be a patching up of that relationship between France and Mali. There have been comments from the French ministers. Florence Parly, the Armed Forces Minister, has said we have to come to terms with the fact that our military, economic and political intervention is becoming more and more difficult and we cannot stay in Mali. And the French Foreign Minister, Jean-Yves Le Drian, has just described it as untenable for the moment. So I think that we're expecting an announcement by Emmanuel Macron, maybe tonight after this meeting in Paris this afternoon, or tomorrow after the African Union and EU summit, which is taking place over 2 days in Brussels. But the French have said that when there's no consensus, there won't be an announcement. It's only when the sides have made an agreement over what they're going to do that they will make an announcement about whether or not troops are going to come out of Mali.
Philip, what kind of support is there here in France for this military operation in West Africa?
Well, it's difficult to say, but mostly French people are becoming tired. There's a fatigue which is coming into the French opinion about what's going on in Mali. If you look at the opinion polls here, 49% say they approve, but that's down from 73% back in 2013 when Operation Barkhane was first announced. And 32% mostly disapprove and 19% totally disapprove. There are elections on the way in just 2 months in France. So I think that what Emmanuel Macron wants to do is to show that he is taking control of the situation. He knows there's fatigue. This has been basically a failure, this Operation Barkhane. There has to be another way of dealing with it. But he's not going to pull French forces out of Africa or West Africa. They're going to be used in a different way, and there will be fewer on the ground.
Philip, thanks so much for that. France 24's Philip Turle.